Welcome to week 1 of the massive online open course on gender and mining governance. In lesson 1, you gain an overview of a wide range of gender impact of the mining sector on communities, and we understand some of the most popular framework for evaluating this impact, with emphasis on women. You also learn how mining community worldwide experience health problems related to human exposure to chemical pollution, release into the atmosphere, into water, soil, and finally, you can find it in the food from the mining sector. And you also learn that men and women experience different health impact by the mining activity, because basically they play different role inside a household and community in almost all societies. In this lecture now, I like to deep dive into 2 relevant cases about health impact on women in Indian mines. The first case is a very well-known case, and it is about the uranium Indian mine in the village of Yadugoda. The Uranium Indian Mining Company, the Uranium Corporation of India Limited, started to mine uranium in 1976 in the village of Yadugoda, and 35,000 people living in 5 kilometers radius within the mine started to experience many hazard and health diseases, health problems, because of radioactivity impact caused by radon gas and gamma radiation. During the dry season, the radioactive dust blows and flow to these community villages, and during the monsoons, the radioactive waste spills into creeks and rivers. The problem was that the people was not aware about the health impact of the uranium extraction and about the radioactivity impact on the earth. So they started to present some irreversible damages, and mostly women started to experience some reproductive diseases. For example, 47% of women experience some disruption during their menstrual cycle. 30% of them demonstrate some infertility problem, and 80% of them presented some miscarriage and stillbirth. This problem was linked to the fact that people was not aware about this impact, so they used to fish in the river and in the lake contaminated by radioactive wastes. Children used to play football on nuclear waste. People used to walk through the tailing dam to reach the forest, to reach the food. So also the congenital children malformation rate was very high. So we talk about 6 times higher in a community close to the mine compared to the 30 kilometers community far from the mine. So the state and the government always try to marginalize those affected community, and the mining company always denied its responsibility despite many international organizations and despite many scientists discover and underline that because of radioactivity, this local community was facing a very huge health impact because of gas radon and gamma radiation. But fortunately, other actors started to support the mine workers and local community strike against the radiation contamination. For example, the Indian Federation of Trade Union, together with other organizations, national and international organizations, began to train local people on how to prevent human exposure to radiation, to radioactivity. Well, the second case is about the health impact of mica mines. Mica is a mineral, and it is extracted in some artisanal mine. Mica is a pearly fine pigment that you use in cosmetic industry to produce eyes shadows, lipstick, and blush. And 60% of the world production originates in two of the most impoverished regions of India, that are Bihar and Jharkhand, and 70% of mica comes from illegal mine. Women and child labor are very common in this mining sector, and the lack of child services and the lack of schools in this territory means that mothers need to take their children with them in the mine. So when children are adult enough, they started to pick mica mine too. You have to know that between 10 to 20 children died every month in India because of accident and collapse. And many studies furthermore underline that during the mica extraction and during the mica milling, women experience and start to breathe all this contaminated dust and start to develop many diseases to the respiratory system, like bronchitis, silicosis, asthma, and to the long term also arthritis. Fortunately, in the last year, the civil society started to make like big pressure on these cosmetic companies, industries, and in 2017, for the first time, the Responsible Mica Initiative was established with the main goal to eradicate child labor by 2022, with the aim to safeguard environment and to eliminate unacceptable working conditions in this mining sector. And to tackle these important social and economical challenges, the government of India also started to legalize the mica mine, and other international organizations and many NGOs started to working with these affected women, trying to develop some alternative livelihood and to train them on how to prevent their exposure to this contaminated dust. And also they started to work with the mass media in order to make a pressure on the government in order to make them improve some rule to protect women in mining sector. So now, after these two important cases, I'd like to leave you with a couple of recommendations that you, as a representative of government, a representative of mining community, mining company, and civil society, you can follow to protect women in mining territory. So you, as representative of government, for example, you can implement rules to protect women from mining impact. You can empower women in local community about healthcare, nutrition, water and sanitation, and about pollution exposure prevention. And furthermore, you can improve livelihood programs of community, especially engaging women. You, as a representative of mining company, you can include the Earth Impact Assessment with gender focus. You can promote training occupational safety for women in mining sector, and you have to guarantee also a gender balance during the community engagement and during the consultation process. Finally, you, as representative of civil society, you can promote independent investigation and research on mining impact with gender focus. You can include women into environmental monitoring process inside the community. And finally, you can also implement programs for women's human rights and gender equality awareness in mining context. So congratulations to attend this course. Thank you so much for your attention, and I wish you to enjoy the rest of the course.